I am getting ready to embark on a phase of unlearning, if you will. We started homeschooling our girls years ago. They're both grown. One of the terms we use in the homeschool community is unschooling. So I guess I'm going to be unschooling myself over the next however long it takes. I've spent most of my time designing to teach or designing to sell instead of creating art just for art's sake. I would say as an artist, I have a bit of a style, but I don't know what's my style, my personal style. I want to change my mindset. I want to stop designing to teach. I want to make art just to make art. I want to feel free on the canvas. I don't want the thoughts of how am I going to teach this in my mind as I'm creating. I guess you could say I'm going to start creating for Donna. Okay, so there's 3 things that I want to stop doing as an artist. If I had a job that was not making art, I probably would hardly ever find time for art. So I'm just going to be really transparent about that. Art is my job. So I have 3 things for you. The number 1 thing I want to stop doing is to stop creating vicariously through other people. Now, art is my job, so I do have to buckle down and actually create something every now and then. But I can see, because it happens to me, how easy it is to just get sucked into watching other people create and never picking up that paintbrush or whatever it is that you desire to spend your time doing when we can watch others doing it. I love watching travel videos because right now traveling vicariously through others is what my reality is. But I can pick up paintbrush and I can get into that Zen zone, personal and spiritual growth situation. It's therapeutics. It's so good for us. And yes, there is some satisfaction in that little dopamine hit that we get from watching someone else in a video as we are doom scrolling. I'm going to stop doom scrolling. I'm going to stop. I think we all are. I think we're all getting to that point where we're realizing that we're spending swaths of time that is so valuable on things that the algorithm is just sending to us because we responded to it one time or another. Just look at your Facebook feed these days. It's not your friends and businesses or creatives that you chose to follow. It's things that stopped your scroll at whatever point. The algorithm's just sending you more and more of that. This is maybe a sad admission on my part and demonstrating how much I doom scroll. I am ADHD and I'm very prone. I'm a dopamine seeker and I've had lots of bad habits over the years centered around that. I stopped and counted one time and I did a little short video about it. I called it the power of the X because I just started Xing. I don't follow that. I don't follow that. I never followed that. I never followed that. And I think there was something like 13 or 14 things in a row before I got to something that I actually followed. I actually chose to want to see come up in my feed. I think we're all waking up from that. Creating vicariously through others can literally be an addiction. And I have over 42,000 pins to prove it. Actually, I think it's over 44,000. So here's the scary part. I did the math. I actually timed myself. Front pin, roughly 6 pins a minute, which is actually on the faster end of my pinning abilities and probably faster than the reality. With the 44,000 pins that I have, that's close to a whole year of pinning without sleeping or doing anything else. If I sat down for a whole year and did nothing but pin things, that's how many pins I have. It makes me want to throw up. I can only speak for myself. My ADHD brain wants to pin things because I don't have short-term memory. I don't have a very strong working memory except through repetition. So I feel like I want to hold on to that thought or that idea. It's a trap. Do I ever go back to those pins? Sometimes, but not very often. I also counted up travel pins represent about 900 of my pins. So at the rate of time that I historically have spent traveling in my life, out of those 900 pins, I will be lucky if I see 1% of them in the time that I have left on this planet. So I have some good news for you. That dopamine hit that we get when we watch others create, by comparison, if we pick up the paintbrush, if we start doing what we're watching other people do, the payoff is so much better. so much better, and it's lasting. So for an example, with my ADHD brain, I'm trying to hold on to that idea, that thing I want to try, but if I stop and try it, it's going to go into my working memory. If I do it often enough, it will become part of my long-term memory, something that I can draw on for years to come. If I just pin it, it may come up in my brain again. I might remember pinning it, or it might manifest in something I do down the road. But if I actually stop and do it, now I have something to work with, something that's going to make me grow and enhance every other thing that I do. Every other thing. That is one of the most beautiful things about creating art. It enhances every other thing we do. And I'm going to get on my soapbox for just a minute, because it's so disappointing to me that the arts and creating have become such a small part of a child's education, when honestly it's the fuel to want to learn more and to become self-propelled and so many things. If you want your kids to excel in life, give them opportunities to be creative. Give them opportunities to use their imagination. And I'm not talking about Minecraft, and I'm not knocking Minecraft either. There's something about having to come up with something yourself rather than execute something that's been put before you. And that's enough. End rant. Number 2, I'm going to stop following trends. I love good design. I love trends. I love the way it brings cultures and communities together. I think there's a lot to be said about trends. But for me personally, as an artist, I want to get out of the mindset of trying to create a product or creating with an end result in mind. That is a very legitimate way to create, and I'm not knocking that. It's going to be hard because I have a marketing mindset. And I love creative, clever marketing. And at the same time, I hate really lame marketing. This one is going to be sincerely a challenge for me, but it's part of a bigger idea for me too. I think when you follow trends, you're more likely to try and emulate what other people are doing. I think that robs us and robs the world of something that's in us that needs to come out. If we're putting all of our energy into following trends and creating products and trying to emulate this guru or that guru, we're not finding what's in us uniquely, or we could overlook it. It probably comes out somewhat. One of the things I know through teaching is we can all have the same example and no two pieces look the same. You can tell a lot of things by how people create. And some people try so hard to make it exactly like yours. And then there are some people that really can't help but make it their own. And I just love seeing that. It just proves that point for me, that we all have something in us. I always tell people when I'm teaching them, look at my example. Use it as a launching pad. Don't try to make what happened on this canvas happen exactly the same on your canvas. Pay attention to what's happening on your canvas and honor that, because that's where the payoff is. We grow when we start to honor what's happening on our canvas. And I think as women, especially, we're bred to fit in. We're bred to blend. And we all wear the same fashion. My Mamu, who was my best friend, my grandmother, when she was in her 70s, this was back in the 80s, she had this red satin members only style jacket. And she wore that with absolute pride. I've always said, I want to be Mamu one day and just wear that red satin members only jacket, whether it's in style or not. And I'm just going to rock it and not worry about what other people think. So not following trends, I feel like, is going to really truly lead me to my true style. I'm excited to see where that leads. And so follow along if you're excited to see that too. So here's the bonus. I know I said 3, but I have a bonus for you. I'm going to stop wishing I had. Fill in the blank. So we tell our kids and we tell ourselves, work to become the best or the perfect version of yourself. And I've been on this treadmill my whole adult life. I guess the treadmill started when I stopped trying to be someone else and I embraced being me. But it was jumping off one treadmill onto another. I want to tell my grown kids now And if I could, I would go back and tell my younger self, you are already the perfect version of yourself. You don't have to work to get there. You're already there. So be her. Just be her. Every day that we are blessed to wake up again in the morning, we have a whole new day to be ourselves and to figure out who that is. So I want to eliminate this sentence from my vocabulary. I wish I had whatever. Usually ends with something that resembles so that I could be more like someone else. We learn from each other, and who we become is a culmination of all the things that we've learned from other people. So honestly, it might be easier to try to be someone else rather than to try to be yourself. I'm going to do the harder thing. I'm going to try to be myself. I'm going to try to be true to what I know, what I've learned. I've learned a lot at this point, honestly. I've spent so much time studying, and I'm really to the point where I've learned not everything I need to learn by any stretch of the imagination, but I've learned enough to just start implementing. I need to just start doing. So to recap, I'm going to stop vicariously creating through others and just start creating because it's in here already. It's up here, it's in here, and I just need to let it come out, and it will. I'm going to stop following trends. I'm going to stop creating to teach. I'm going to stop creating to sell. Actually, I can't stop that because it's my job, but I'm going to also make time to create, just to create. And I think it's going to affect the things that I create to sell and teach in a really big way. And lastly, I'm going to get off the treadmill of I wish I had. I'm going to use what I already have and make more art. So if you're still with me, I'm so glad you have taken the time, and I hope some of this resonates with you. I would love to know in the comments if you do any of these things that I'm trying to stop doing. And if you have any tips or tricks for us in the community, I have a feeling I'm not alone. So if you'd like to know what got me started on YouTube in my 50s, watch this video next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Happy making. Let's see what we got here.